Chapter 449. Bang! The crystals on the pillar flickered chaotically. From the first row to the 8th row, it only took a blink of an eye. When the 10th crystal on the 8th row lit up, it immediately turned scarlet, then purple, and finally black. The examinee was not a nobody, but a famous genius of Thunder region. However, he couldn't even be ranked in the top 10. 80, black. He actually reached the final limit of Astral Reaching Realm's attack power. Everyone discussed spiritedly, gasping in admiration. It should be known that under ordinary circumstances, 80 crystals was already the maximum value of an Astral Reaching Realm's attack power. However, the last crystal on every 2 rows had been tampered with, allowing it to emit 3 colors. The first color was scarlet, the second was purple, and the third was black. The meaning of red was purple, and purple was black. It could vividly reflect the examinee's attack power. If it were only this, everyone wouldn't be so shocked. What shocked them was that the examinee couldn't even be ranked in the top 10 of Thunder region. Didn't this mean that there were at least 10 people in Thunder region who could produce black 80, or even above? Too powerful. Thunder region is worthy of being the strongest region of Southern sector. Be it comprehensive strength, average strength, or peak strength, they all surpass other regions. Black 80, perhaps the strongest experts of Mountain region and South Rudra region are also at this level. Perhaps not yet. The examination proceeded in an orderly manner. Through observation, it could be seen that only 10 to 20% of the examinees could pass this test. Soon, it was Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing's turn. Murong Qingqing did not use all of her power. She lifted up her left hand slightly and hit on the power measuring column crystal from a distance. 80, black. Without waiting for the astonishment of the crowd, Yi Chen also began his test. Raising his index and middle fingers, he tapped in the air, and the 80th crystal also lit up black. Another black 80. 2 consecutive black 80s made everyone pay attention to Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing. However, they had never seen the 2 before, and didn't know which region they were from. At the other entrance of Beautiful Garden, Edict Prince is here. I wonder if he can produce 80-something. You'll know once you see it. Amidst the whispers of the crowd, Edict Prince faintly smiled and flicked out a finger energy. The finger energy collided with the crystal, and the crystal flashed with a dazzling radiance. It was Black 80. Black 80. It seems like the Edict Prince didn't reveal his true offensive power. That's right, how many people are willing to reveal their strongest offensive power on the strength testing pillar? Basically, it's fine. No, there is one. Although he won't reveal his true attack power, he will definitely be in the limelight. You mean the Astral Spirit Sun, right? Indeed, Astral Spirit Sun doesn't like to be under others. Among the 3 true dragon-rank geniuses, he's the most domineering. Look, Edict Prince's female companion is also about to test her offensive power. The beautiful woman called Uxian did not move at all. She only glanced at the crystal. The crystal exploded, and the result was Black 80. What kind of attack is that? I'm sure she didn't make a move. I'm not sure. Maybe he did, but we didn't see it. Everyone was surprised and bewildered. Let's go in. Edict Prince pulled Uxian's hand and entered Splendid Garden. At the 3rd entrance of Mian Show Garden. 84. Astral Spirit Sun indeed has the offensive power of a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Moreover, it's not 81 or 82, but 84. He's even stronger than an early Sea of Soul Realm expert. Perhaps, this is not his strongest attack. Very likely. He has defeated Sea of Soul Realm experts before. Enjoying the worship of others, the red-haired youth stepped into Splendid Garden. The aura emanating from his body was like that of a demon or devil, wantonly and without restraint. If an ordinary person were to deliberately act like this, it would only leave the impression of arrogance. However, it was so natural for the red-haired Astral Spirit Sun, as if he was born this way. Behind Astral Spirit Sun, the purple-haired bewitching woman revealed a smile and inwardly said, "Senior brother, this time, I came not only to challenge Thunder Princess and Edict Prince. After challenging them, it will be your turn. Pang! The result was Black 80. The purple-haired woman left behind a fiery figure. The splendid garden occupied a vast area. The location of the tea party was the Mountain River stage at the center of the garden. The Mountain River stage was actually a platform with a circumference of several li. It was milky white in color, as if it was made of fine white marble. However, those who had visited the splendid garden knew that the material used to construct the stage was not white marble, but the essence left behind by the thunder vein stone. It was called thunder vein iron. The thunder vein iron was used as the foundation, and a layer of top-grade white jade resin was cast over it, giving it a grand and heroic appearance. The Mountain River stage had pavilions arranged in picturesque disorder in all four directions. Only the center was a huge empty space of 2 li. At this moment, the Mountain River stage was already filled with a large number of youths under the age of 30. Moreover, the number was increasing rapidly. In a short while, it had become a black mass. What a good feng shui land! Relying on his dragon vein qi, Yi Chen could see the uniqueness of the Mountain River stage with a single glance. This place was like the Dragon's Eye of Thunder City, adding the finishing touch. Murong Qingqing glanced at the Mountain River stage, but in the next moment, her gaze was attracted by 2 young men. The person walking in front of them was a handsome young man wearing a robe with 7 stars. His eyes were warm like jade, and he was tall and slender. When he walked, he didn't make a sound, but he didn't give off a strange feeling. Instead, it was as if he was walking on clouds. Wherever he went, the atmosphere would change. The red-haired young man walking over from the right was the complete opposite of the handsome young man. His aura was like that of a demon, extremely domineering. It was as if he was a demon general who controlled the world. His powerful aura even caused the atmosphere he was in to change. It was a bloody storm, and the wind and rain were everywhere. Involuntarily, Murong Qingqing tilted her head to look at Yi Chen. This blue-robed swordsman who came from the same place as her had always been so calm. Although he was among so many geniuses, it was impossible not to notice him. He was neither exceptionally eye-catching, nor was he exceptionally easy to ignore. He was always in the middle, impartial and calm. At first glance, he seemed to be extremely calm. Only when one calmed down, would one be able to feel that peerless sword chi from his calmness, that sharpness that could draw blood at any time, and that tremor that could change the color of the world. Just as Murong Qingqing had expected, there were not as many people paying attention to Yi Chen as she did. Even the handsome young man and the red-haired young man had noticed her first, and did not take Yi Chen as their main target. It was not because they did not have enough observational power. In fact, Murong Qingqing and Yi Chen had only sensed it after staying together for a long time. If it were other spirit warriors or master-level warriors, they might not be able to tell that Yi Chen was not ordinary at all. There were 4 true dragon chi in the sky, but facing each other, it was very hard to tell who had the true dragon chi. Yi Chen also could not tell directly from observation. Only life and death realm warriors and masters proficient in feng shui and astrology would be able to tell, and it had nothing to do with power or observation power. Gradually, the number of people rushing over decreased. There were more than 300 people on the Mountain River stage, close to 400. Among the crowd, Yi Chen saw Yan Qihua, Li Daoxian, Tua Baku, Lin Yun, Bing Ling, Gu Yuyun, Qian Yun, and the others. Of course, there was also Sikong Sheng in black robes. Yi Chen, Murong, long time no see. Yan Qihua and Li Daoxian walked over. Yi Chen said, "You too." "Ha, Yi Chen, it has been a long time. After the tea gathering, we must have a good battle. These years, I have been through hell training." Only Tua Baku could talk to Yi Chen like this. When he first met Yi Chen, it was to challenge him. Yi Chen forced a smile. "Let's deal with this tea gathering first. Don't worry. Although we are small in number, we will not fall behind." Tua Baku was extremely confident. Soon after, Bing Ling walked over with a cold expression. On the other side, Sikong Sheng and 2 other young men in black robes stood together. So, he is Yi Chen. He does not look like much. The younger man in black robes studied Yi Chen carefully and said. Si Kongxing said, we will know soon. Why ask so much? Oh, to be able to make you pay so much attention to him, he should have some tricks up his sleeves. I wonder to what extent. Seventh night, don't talk too much. Those who can participate in the tea gathering are not easy to deal with. Be careful not to fail. Hee, don't worry. I am not a 3-year-old kid. With a deep look, Si Kongsheng shifted his gaze to Yi Chen. Right at this moment, Yi Chen also looked over, and their eyes clashed. Yi Chen, I have waited for a long time for this tea gathering. You did not disappoint me, choosing to participate in it. Si Kongsheng was very excited. A lot of people did not know that he was actually the first knight of the 7 Knights of the Moon Pavilion, which was only a branch of the Evil King Pavilion. After the last tea gathering, he had been invited by the Evil King to the Evil King Pavilion, but his identity had changed a bit. From the first Knight of the Moon Pavilion to the 7 Knights of the Evil King Pavilion, he had improved at an insane speed. Not only did he get rid of the identity of the 7 Knights, his ranking had also increased rapidly, becoming the 4th Knight of the 7 Knights of the Evil King Pavilion. His power was only below the 1st Knight, 2nd Knight, and 3rd Knight, which made him very valued by the Evil King. This time, he came back not only to redeem himself in the tea gathering, but also to defeat Yi Chen, his archenemy, to fulfill his biggest wish. Yi Chen, wait for my challenge. Seeing the shocking determination in his opponent's eyes, Yi Chen revealed a light smile on his face. After 4 years, he had indeed become more powerful, and his identity seemed to have changed as well. The 2 young men next to him were not simple at all. Although they looked calm, there was an extreme confidence hidden within. That kind of confidence was different from normal confidence. To be more precise, it was a kind of glory, a glory of status. Chapter 450. The Mountain River stage had gathered all the young heroes of the southern sector. Some of them appreciated each other, some of them didn't like each other no matter how they looked at each other. There were also some who fanned the flames and sat on the stage calmly. At this moment, the top young heroes of the younger generation had formed a small jianghu. From the east, a chilling aura blew over. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked over. On the small island next to the lake, a tall and slender beauty with long black hair and eyebrows all the way to her temples walked over. She was wearing a sky blue dress, and her shoulders were slightly broad. Her aura was quite strong, and her charm was not lacking in gentleness, and her gentleness was not lacking in aggressiveness. If one had to describe her, she was like a valkyrie, a female emperor, a contradiction between gentleness and aggressiveness. Every man could find a side of her that they liked. She was none other than the Thunder Princess, whose fame had gradually surpassed the Edict Prince, the host of this martial tea gathering. Everyone, Jing Aoshuan has arrived a bit late. My apologies. The Thunder Princess, who was wearing a sky blue dress, walked onto the Mountain River stage. Her eyes were as sharp as thunder as she looked around and cupped her fists. What a heroine, a female emperor. Yi Chen had said 2 things in total when he arrived at the Mountain River stage. The first was the Mountain River stage, and the second was the Thunder Princess. It was easy to see how strong the feeling she gave him was. Not at all, not at all. We've only just arrived. Princess Jing, how have you been? Since the host is here, then the martial tea gathering should begin. Everyone was being polite, exchanging greetings. Of course, there were also some who couldn't wait. The Thunder Princess nodded and said, just like the previous times, everyone please take a seat according to your region. The Mountain River stage had a total of hundreds of pavilions. Inside each pavilion were tables and chairs, giving off an ancient feeling. Beside them, there were also well-trained and beautiful attendants. Hearing this, the young elites of each domain gathered together and chose a few neighboring pavilions to sit down. Yi Chen and the others chose 3 pavilions in the south and sat down separately. Glancing over, Yi Chen noticed that Si Kongsheng and the 2 young men in black robes had chosen a pavilion nearby. Gu Yuyan was sitting with them, and as for Li Jia, he had not reached the qualification to enter the Mian Show Garden yet. Looking at it this way, not counting the 2 men in black robes, including Sikong Sheng, there were only 17 warriors from the entire southern region. It was obvious that they were the side with the least number of warriors. The mountain region had about the same number of people as the South Rudra region. There were 20 people in total. Among these 20 people, it was obvious that the young man in the white robe and the young man in the blue robe were the leaders. The rest of them were not as powerful. Besides the South Rudra region and the mountain region, the other regions would be 1 level higher. Among them, the Black Gold region, the Wavy Cloud region, and the Misty Snow region would be 1 level higher, with 35, 40, and 38 people respectively. The other 2 regions outside of the South region would be the Fire Swamp region and the Snow Iron region. The Fire Swamp region would have 36 people while the Snow Iron region would have 42. Going up another level would be another level. The Gold Sand region, where the Astral Spirit Sun was, had 55 people. The Edict Prince's Floating Light region had 60 people. The region with the most people was naturally the Thunder region, which had 78 people and occupied 15 pavilions. All in all, there would be young elites from 10 regions participating in this tea gathering: Thunder region, Floating Light region, Gold Sand region, Wavy Cloud region, Misty Snow region, Black Gold region, Mountain region, South Rudra region, Fire Swamp region, and Snow Iron region. This might not be accurate, because the 2 black-robed young men with Sikong Sheng were obviously not young elites from any of the regions. In Yi Chen's pavilion, there were only 3 people: Yi Chen, Tua Baku, and a new top genius from the South Rudra region called Mu Lingfeng. Mu Lingfeng was not a disciple of a 6th grade sect, but a 7th grade sect. In the last Hidden Dragon ranking, he had also amazed the world with a single brilliant feat, obtaining the 3rd rank of the Hidden Dragon ranking, which simply shocked everyone. As for Muong Qingcheng, she was sitting in another pavilion. She was, after all, a disciple of the Sky Demon Martial School, so she had to sit with the people of the Sky Demon Martial School. Moreover, Mo Yen and Yi Chen didn't get along well. Although he was the representative of the Sky Demon Martial School, Mu Lingfeng didn't have any temper in front of Yi Chen, and was even somewhat restrained. It should be known that Yi Chen was not much older than him, only a year and a half difference. It was just that Yi Chen had made his debut 1 year earlier than him. Tua Baku chuckled and said to Mu Lingfeng, "Relax, it's not like he's going to eat you." Hearing him, Mu Lingfeng smiled awkwardly. He didn't know what was going on with him. Sitting together with Yi Chen, he felt a lot of pressure. Others didn't feel the same way, not even Tua Baku. Yi Chen smiled at him and didn't say anything. The table was filled with all kinds of desserts and fruits. Some of the desserts and fruits were unheard of. There was also a beautiful attendant brewing tea. The strong fragrance of tea wafted through the air. With just a sniff, one would feel the endless aftertaste and feel relaxed and happy. Right then, the voice of the Thunder Princess was heard from afar. The martial tea gathering is held once every 2 years. It is a gathering for everyone to exchange pointers. I hope that everyone will not be too reserved. Sipping tea while watching others battle, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? Edict Prince, the host of the last tea gathering, continued, "What the Thunder Princess said is correct. Those who can participate in the martial tea gathering are all outstanding talents. Since you are here, don't bother about winning or losing. What you need to worry about is whether you have comprehended something or not, whether you have improved or not. This is the true purpose of the martial tea gathering. Since the Thunder Princess and the Edict Prince have said so, let me start. I am Black Gold Region's Hua Feng. Who is willing to battle with me?" Hua Feng was not worried about the appearance of a young elite whose strength was much higher than his. The martial tea gathering would be held in this place. Before going up to battle, he would first estimate his opponent's strength. If he felt that he was about the same level as his opponent, then he would go up. If he felt that he was much stronger, then he would not go up at all. So what if he won? The opponent was not the Edict Prince or the Thunder Princess. I, Lin Ninghao of the Misty Snow region, will battle you. Shoo! From the pavilion of the misty snow region, a figure shot out. Please advise me. Please advise me. The two were dozens of meters away from each other as they cupped their fists. Suddenly, their gazes sharpened as they stared at each other without blinking, looking for an opportunity to attack. Hua Feng took the initiative and attacked. Lin Yinghao did not dare to be careless as he raised his sword to meet the attack. One of them used a hammer, while the other used a sword. The two were locked in a fierce battle, causing the air to vibrate. In the end, it was still Hua Feng who came out on top and won the first battle of the martial tea gathering. With a start, the rest was easy. The young elites of each domain appeared one after another, sometimes even having 2 or 3 matches at the same time. Gorgeous true essence reflected a rainbow of colors, and wonderful martial skills appeared one after another. It was incomparably gorgeous. Everyone in the pavilion was drinking tea as they watched the matches. It was a very pleasant sight. During this time, a few people from the South Rudra region also stepped up. They were all famous young geniuses of this year. However, the gap between them and the geniuses from other regions was too huge. Without exception, all of them lost, which made Yan Qihua and the others faintly crease their brows. Is there no one in your South Rudra region? Let your strongest person come up. I will defeat him by myself. After defeating a genius from the South Rudra region, the yellow-haired youngster pointed at the pavilion of the South Rudra region with an extremely arrogant expression. All of a sudden, everyone looked in the direction of the South Rudra region. There is indeed no one in the South Rudra region. 17 people defeated 5 in a row. What can the remaining 12 do? Dong Haoxiong is a famous young expert from the Gold Sand region. Who knows, he might really be able to sweep the entire South Rudra region. The South Rudra region is too embarrassed. They are being challenged by others. I wonder if the strongest person will go up next. Everyone discussed in low voices. Mu Lingfeng couldn't bear it anymore. He suddenly stood up and yelled, "You want to challenge the strongest person of my South Rudra region? Dream on. I, Mu Lingfeng, will try you." He was just about to step up when Yi Chen sent a Jin Yuan transmission to him. Earlier, he used about 80% of his strength. Also, be careful of his blade arts. If I'm not wrong, he should be left-handed. Mu Lingfeng was shocked inwardly. He didn't know how Yi Chen could see so much. However, a person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. With Yi Chen's status, he wouldn't ignore these words. Shoo! Mu Lingfeng flew over. Clang! 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 His weapon was also a blade. The two blades continuously clashed together, creating dazzling sparks. The two's figures couldn't even be seen anymore. Eat my blade! Taking a step back, Dong Haoxiong switched his blade to his left hand and met the attack once again. The completely opposite blade arts made some of the spectating young experts feel very uncomfortable. Dang! Mu Lingfeng blocked it, but only he knew that without Yi Chen's warning, he would have most likely lost to Dong Haoxiong. Dong Haoxiong was extremely shocked. Even in the Gold Sand region, not many people knew about his left-handed blade. He thought that once he used his left hand, his opponent would immediately be defeated. However, he didn't expect that Mu Lingfeng would be prepared for this. Not only did he block his attack, he even counterattacked while he was distracted. The two had similar strength, but Mu Lingfeng was a bit more skillful. Therefore, Dong Haoxiong's left-hand blade lost its effectiveness, and he gradually fell into a disadvantage. Let go! A blade light flickered as Mu Lingfeng knocked away Dong Haoxiong's blade. He won. Someone was slightly surprised. After winning against Dong Haoxiong, Mu Lingfeng sheathed his blade and said with a loud voice, "Although our South Rudra region doesn't have many people, you don't have the qualifications." Dong Haoxiong coldly glanced at Mu Lingfeng, then picked up his blade and walked down the stage. "Kid, don't be too arrogant. Let me experience your skills." Feeling embarrassed, someone from the Gold Sand region walked out. Mu Lingfeng was not afraid at all. He knew that his chances of winning the next battle were very small. Since the opponent dared to come up, his strength must be above Dong Haoxiong's. Mu Lingfeng, don't panic. When this guy walks, his right foot is 30% heavier than his left. His muscles are purposely relaxed, so he should be training the right leg martial arts. His hands' qi and blood are more vigorous than ordinary people's, so his hand martial arts should not be weak either. Just attack his left hand with all your strength so that he won't be able to find his own rhythm. Lastly, your blade arts are somewhat messy, which should be a bit uncoordinated with your footwork. Therefore, don't casually use your speed to chase after him, lest he finds your flaws. The one who sent the message was still Yi Chen. Mu Lingfeng sucked in a breath of air and turned his head to look at Yi Chen. Chapter 451. What? Are you scared? The newcomer was about 25 or 26 years old, with a muscular body and a threatening gaze. Seeing that Mu Lingfeng was a bit absent-minded, he thought that he was shocked by his aura. Turning his head, Mu Lingfeng said, "Try and you will know. Hehe, wait for your defeat. Before that, remember my name, Li Xiao." Ha! Just as he finished his words, Li Xiao jumped up from the ground and kicked out with his right leg like a shooting star. Crescent moon cut. Mu Lingfeng's eyes were sharp as he took a step forward with his right leg. The long blade in his hand brushed against the ground and slashed out. Swoosh! A bright yellow blade light flew up from the ground, attacking Li Xiao's left side. Eh! Li Xiao frowned and changed his leg art from a kick to a sweep, sending out a powerful kick that shattered the blade light. Crescent west wind. Mu Lingfeng had made up his mind to attack Li Xiao's left side. Therefore, no matter how Li Xiao's leg art changed, he was not affected at all. His determined eyes seemed to be able to see through all of Li Xiao's flaws. After dozens of moves, Li Xiao gradually felt that something was wrong. Originally, his strength was 30% higher than Mu Lingfeng's, and logically speaking, he should have the upper hand while his opponent was struggling to hold on. But now, the two of them were evenly matched, and as time passed, Li Xiao's leg technique was greatly restricted. "I can beat you even without leg arts." Pouring Jin Yuan into his palms, Li Xiao spun his body, and a powerful palm power rushed out like a rolling wave. Come! Mu Lingfeng became more and more aggressive as he performed his blade art. It was like moving clouds and flowing water, without any hindrance. It pushed the blade aura and blade intent to the peak. Boom! Another dozens of moves passed. The two seemed to have a telepathic connection as they both threw out their most powerful attacks. The chi wave was enough to tear open mountains, pushing them back and making them puke out blood. Alright, this battle is considered a draw. Thunder Princess stopped the two who wanted to fight again. Ha! You are lucky this time. Not being able to beat Mu Lingfeng made Li Xiao's face turn ugly. However, since Thunder Princess had asked him to stop, he did not dare to not give her face. Mu Lingfeng's eyes were calm. "Next time, you will not be my opponent." Just like that, the two left the place. "Sorry, I didn't defeat him." After returning to his seat, Mu Lingfeng sent a true essence sound transmission to Yi Chen. He was already convinced by Yi Chen. Yi Chen said, "It doesn't matter. I'm already very surprised that you managed to tie. After all, there's still a big gap between you and him. It's not like you can defeat him with just a few pointers." Yi Chen was indeed surprised. He had thought that Mu Lingfeng would not lose too badly, but he did not expect his opponent to have such a horrifying comprehensive ability. Not only did he follow through with what he had told him, but he had also performed beyond his expectations, displaying his own characteristics. No wonder he was called the representative of the new generation of martial geniuses in the South Rudra region. He was the new star after Yi Chen's Hidden Dragon rank competition. The South Rudra region did not have a good start, and neither did the mountain region. Even though the other regions did not purposely target the mountain region, all of the young warriors from the mountain region had been defeated one after another. Without exaggerating, powerful regions like the Thunder region, the Floating Light region, and the Gold Sand region, even the weakest young warrior could defeat half of the people from the mountain region. It was an undeniable fact. Cold Moon Spear, Sai Xingfeng, is it really okay for you to not go up? Up until now, your mountain region has not won a single battle. Pointing at the center of the stage, a tall young man named Chao Tai from the Snow Iron region said. Hearing him, Cold Moon Spear Su Jiang, who was wearing a white robe, stood up slowly. Sai Xingfeng frowned and said, "Are we going up now?" Su Jiang said, "Besides you and me, no one else would be safe. Be careful." Sai Xingfeng knew what Su Jiang was thinking. Only by beating his opponent would the situation in the mountain region not be that bad, just like the South Rudra region. The battle had begun. Su Jiang was not called the Cold Moon Spear for no reason. With a long silver spear in his hand, the spear light spread out in all directions. It was like he was standing in the dark water, filled with the reflection of the moon. Chao Tai had trained the gold element Jin Yuan, which was not only powerful in attacking, but also in defense. Combined with his martial intent, he managed to block out the Cold Moon Spear's spear aura. If you only have this much power, then you will not be able to block out the next spear attack. Su Jiang said lightly. Chao Tai sneered, "You and I are at the same power level. You want to beat me with one spear attack? That is impossible. Bring it on." "All right." Su Jiang took a deep breath as his silver-long spear started to spin. The spear shadow spun in the air as Yuan Qi surged. A horrifying deep ocean swirl seemed to have appeared in front of Su Jiang, dragging in the air from all directions. As the spear speed got faster and faster, the pulling power got stronger and stronger. Chao Tai, who was battling with Su Jiang, froze for a second, and his body started to crash into the tip of the spear. Not good. Chao Tai was shocked. His Jin Yuan exploded as he tried his best to get rid of the pulling power. Too late. A spear mark appeared in the air. Chao Tai's protective Jin Yuan layer was broken, and his clothes were cut open. If it were not for the fact that his opponent had shown mercy, that spear attack would definitely have pierced through his heart. "Thank you." Su Jiang took back his spear and stood up. Brilliant. Chao Tai and Su Jiang did not have any deep hatred between them, so losing was not a big deal. Plus, the latter's spear art was indeed impressive. Cold Moon Spear Su Jiang, I, Hu Xiao, have been wanting to fight you for a long time. Let's spar. A warrior from the Fire Swamp region flew out. Su Jiang frowned, knowing that this person would not be easy to deal with. The warrior who had come out was one of the top 5 warriors from the Fire Swamp region. He had beaten 10 people in a row in the last tea gathering, and was eventually beaten by Imo Xiang from the Thunder region. After 2 years, his power should have improved a little, but Yi Chen had no idea how much he had improved. Please teach me. Su Jiang threw out a spear flower. Sure. The Fire Swamp region was mostly covered in mud, which contained a lot of decaying things. These decaying things accumulated over a long period of time and turned into burning gas, which caused many places in the Fire Swamp region to be on fire all year round. It was extremely strange. Most of the warriors living in the Fire Swamp region had fire element bodies, which allowed them to train fire element Jin Yuan with half the effort. This Hu Xiao had trained fire element Jin Yuan. Boom! A pale green flame shot out. Hu Xiao's power was much higher than Chao Tai's, which forced Su Jiang to back out continuously. For a moment, he could not perform the attack that had beaten Chao Tai. Fire Shine World. Hu Xiao threw out a fist attack. That aggressive burning fist power rushed out at a high speed, forming waves of turbulence that blew away Su Jiang, who had used all of his power. Hu Xiao has won. The warriors from the Fire Swamp region are quite powerful after all. One of the pillars of the mountain region had lost. Now, there is only the Star Race Mountain left. If even he had lost, then the mountain region would be in an awkward position in this tea gathering. The South Rudra region and the mountain region had been weak for a long time. They would not be able to change the situation in 1 or 2 years. The defeat of the mountain region had given everyone a common topic to talk about. As they chatted, they started to talk about the South Rudra region. Ha! Yan Chihua stood up in front of everyone's surprised eyes and walked onto the stage with big steps. He wanted to change everyone's opinion of the South Rudra region. The South Rudra region would no longer be the South Rudra region from before. Even if there were fewer people, they would still be able to make a name for themselves. Chin. Taking out his red great blade, Yan Chihua pointed it at Hu Xiao. Make your move. Oh? Hu Xiao's eyebrows flicked as he asked, why is Xikong Sheng not on the stage yet? It has been 2 years since the last tea gathering. Don't tell me he has not made any progress at all. Yan Chihua said, I am more than enough. All right then. I will beat you first, then force Xikong Sheng out. Although Xikong Sheng was not one of the top warriors in the last tea gathering, he was still a powerful warrior. Hu Xiao did not have the confidence to beat him 2 years ago, and it was the same now. But beating a nameless warrior would be a piece of cake for him. Both of them cultivated fire-attributed Jin Yuan. Instantly, 2 square miles of open space were engulfed in flames. The scorching heat soared into the sky, and even the extremely tough and flexible high-grade white jade was burned until it cracked, making crackling sounds. Fire Shine World. Hu Xiao performed the attack that he had used to beat Su Jiang. Yan Chihua did not back out at all. Instead, he dove down and threw out a blade attack from below. That blade attack seemed to crack open the ground, and the lava started to boil. The fire wave that reached into the sky condensed into a huge red blade, which not only shattered the fist power, but also blew away Hu Xiao. 33 Blade Net. With only 1 blade attack, Yan Chihua did not stop his blade aura as he threw out 33 blade attacks in a row. That burning hot blade light crisscrossed, forming into a blade net that fell down towards Hu Xiao. Swoosh! 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 Hu Xiao tried his best to attack the blade net, but the fire wave in the net had cancelled out a part of his fist power. The rest of his fist power could only break a small part of the net before his protective Jin Yuan was shattered. He puked out a mouthful of blood and was blown away. What? Yan Chihua from the South Rudra region won? This Hu Xiao is one of the top 5 warriors in the Fire Swamp region after all. He is not some nameless warrior, but this Yan Chihua is obviously not the number 1 warrior in the South Rudra region, but he still managed to beat Hu Xiao. This kind of power has already reached beyond the mountain region. How surprising! Yan Chihua's victory had made a lot of people realize that the South Rudra region did not seem to be easy to deal with. Although there were not many of them, their aura was not weak at all. Plus, among the 17 warriors who had come, more than half of them had not fought yet, so no one could tell how powerful they were. After beating Hu Xiao, Yan Chihua had 2 more opponents, both of whom were no weaker than Hu Xiao. The one behind him was a warrior from the Wavy Cloud region, who was 30% more powerful. The battles were tough, and the situation had changed a couple of times. In the end, Yan Chihua managed to hold on and won 3 battles in a row, bringing the South Rudra region to a level that could not be underestimated. Not bad. It is worth my time. It was a warrior from the Black Gold region. From the crowd, it was Shi Yan, who was ranked 3rd in the Black Gold region. He had beaten Xikong Sheng in the last Hidden Dragon rank, and was the one who had humiliated Xikong Sheng. Seeing him come out, Xikong Sheng squeezed his eyes, but did not say anything. Yan Chihua, let me go. You should rest and recover your Jin Yuan. Li Daoxian could tell that Yan Chihua had used up a lot of his energy, so it would be hard for him to win against Shi Yan. Therefore, he decided to take his place. Yan Chihua hesitated for a second, then said, "You be careful. This guy seems to be very dangerous." "I know." Li Daoxian nodded. "Yi Chen, do you think Li Daoxian could win?" Mu Lingfeng was very impressed by Yi Chen, so he could not help but ask. Yi Chen said, "The 2 of them have similar spirit, qi, and soul. So, the final battle would probably be the power of will. The spiral-shaped staff light almost penetrated Li Daoxuan's chest in the blink of an eye. Clang! Facing the spiral rod radiance, Li Daoxuan's expression did not change. The long sword at his waist was instantly unsheathed, and a cold star blossomed, shattering the spiral rod radiance. You do have some power. Shi Yan looked a bit more serious. He had used this attack to test Li Daoxian. Although it was just a test, his power was not weak at all. He thought that Li Daoxian would have to spend a bit of power to deal with it, but he did not expect it to be broken this easily. You take a sword attack of mine as well. After shattering the spiral rod radiance, Li Daoxian shook his right wrist, and 6 sharp sword lights pierced out. As he threw out that sword attack, the air seemed to freeze as the sword light flew out at an extreme speed. All the sounds from the outside world and the sword light had disappeared completely. Impressive. I could not believe that I had misjudged you. 6 cold light dots shone in front of Shi Yan's body. He could not help but back out 3 steps. If it were not for his fast reflexes and his staff defending in time, those 6 sword lights would have broken through his protective Jin Yuan and wounded him badly. This sword attack was just too creepy. Silent sword attack. Yi Chen had recognized this attack. Back in the Hidden Dragon rank competitions, Li Daoxian had made a name for himself with his silent sword attack. Although he had still lost to Yi Chen, Xikong Sheng, and Yan Qihua, no one dared to underestimate it. After 4 years, the silent sword attack had appeared again. However, compared to before, its power had increased by 6 times. Therefore, it would be more appropriate to call it 6 silent sword attacks. A sword and a staff, the 2 of them were evenly matched, and there was no clear victor. That Yan Qihua is a blade artist, and this Li Daoxian is a sword artist. Since when did such powerful blade artists and sword artists appear in the South Rudra region? With their power, they would be able to be ranked in the top 15 even in our Thunder region. If that Xikong Sheng is even more powerful than them, then the South Rudra region would be able to get rid of the title of being a weak region. That might be the case. These 2 are the most powerful warriors in the whole South Rudra region. It is possible. Without hearing the crowd's discussion, Li Daoxian had all of his attention on Shi Yan. The latter's battling power was just too powerful. In the last tea gathering, it was not luck that he was able to beat Xikong Sheng. He indeed had the power. He had almost used all of his ace attacks, but he still could not wound his opponent at all. On the other hand, his shoulder had been stabbed by the dragon staff, and it was getting more and more painful. I can't go on like this. I have to finish this as soon as possible. The wound on his shoulder kept reminding Li Daoxian that the longer it dragged on, the less likely he would be able to win. Shi Yan's power was way beyond Yan Qihua's and his own imagination. Luckily, I was replaced by Li Daoxian. Otherwise, I would have lost within 100 attacks. Yan Qihua was still scared. It was not because he was afraid of Shi Yan, but because he had already fought 3 battles before, all of which were not easy to deal with, which had cost him a lot of energy. If he were to fight Shi Yan without his full power, losing within 100 attacks would already be an optimistic outcome. In fact, Yan Qihua did not even have the confidence to handle 50 attacks. Dao is emotionless, but it has emotions. His robe danced in the air as Li Daoxian jumped up from the ground, throwing out a fatal sword attack towards Shi Yan. This sword attack was the last movement of his emotionless sword art, which was as powerful as a 30% trained low-rank profound sense martial art. It was even more mysterious than other sword arts. The muscles on his arms expanded as Shi Yan switched to holding the staff with both of his hands. The dragon staff danced and spun in the air, creating layers of staff curtains in front of his body, continuously breaking down the sharp sword qi that Li Daoxian had thrown out. Break! Waiting until Li Daoxuan's sword aura had been exhausted, Shi Yan yelled as his staff power increased drastically, shattering all of the sword qi before throwing out another attack towards Li Daoxian. Pooh! Puking out a mouthful of blood, Li Daoxian was sent flying out. But at the same time Li Daoxian flew, a plum blossom suddenly bloomed in front of Shi Yan, imprinting on his chest, soft and gentle. Cough! Once the plum blossom landed, Shi Yan puked out a huge amount of blood. When the plum blossom appeared, he told himself that there was something strange about it, and that he could not afford to be careless. However, at that moment, his rationality and his subconscious seemed to have some kind of conflict, which caused his reaction speed to be a bit slower, allowing the plum blossom to take advantage of his weakness. So, this is what it means by emotionless, but it has emotions. Shi Yan suddenly realized that this sword attack was different from normal sword attacks. It contained emotions within the emotionless attack, and this little bit of emotion was the most deadly killing intent, which was even scarier than emotionless attacks. The extreme of Yin gave birth to Yang, and the extreme of Yang gave birth to Yin. Within the emotionless attack, the emotions were the scariest, and vice versa. Both of them had been wounded quite badly, so they could only end in a draw. Tuabaku praised, "It has been a couple of years since we last met, and everyone has improved so much. I thought I was the only one who had been through hell training." Yichen said, "Why don't you go up there and have a battle as well?" Hehe, what is the point of battling with these people? At least there needs to be someone who has the same power as me. Yichen, what about you? Me, I will go when the time comes. Yichen did not have the intention of going up as the last one. When the time came, even if the opponent was a bit weaker, he would still go up to show his strength. At least, he would bring some glory to the South Rudra region. Li Daoxian fighting Shi Yan to a draw was not something that many people had expected. No matter what, Shi Yan was still the third-ranked young warrior in the Black Gold region, and could be ranked in the top 50 or even the top 30 of the whole South region. What kind of place was South Rudra region? In the last tea gathering, only Sikong Sheng had participated. This time, the number of people had increased by 16 times. However, in the eyes of the crowd, they were still at the bottom. And now, these bottom warriors were showing signs of rising up. How could they not be shocked? South Rudra region is not the same anymore. You better not look down on it. Yeah! South Rudra region is several times more powerful than the mountain region. You can't mix them up. The night gradually fell, and the entire Mian Show garden was as brightly lit as it was during the day. Basically, every 10 steps, there would be a sunlight crystal pillar. The sunlight crystal pillar was 3 meters tall, emitting a gentle white light that wasn't dazzling to the eyes. This allowed the tea gathering to continue under the bright light. Bang! Blood spilled everywhere. The last pillar of the mountain region, the Star Race Mountain, had fallen down. It was not because he was weak, but because his opponent was too powerful. Right now, almost all of the warriors from the mountain region had been wiped out. The remaining few small fries would not be able to do anything. How could they be more powerful than the Cold Moon Spear and the Star Race Mountain? It is time for the mountain region to remember this humiliation. The Cold Moon Spear Su Jiang closed his eyes painfully. In the past, there had always been the South Rudra region at the bottom, and the mountain region had always been a bit more powerful than the South Rudra region. This had made a lot of people choose to be blind and deceive themselves. But now, the South Rudra region had worked hard and gotten rid of the title of being a weak region, while the mountain region was still struggling. Right then, even the Thunder Princess and the Edict Prince were shaking their heads. The mountain region was too weak. Besides the Cold Moon Spear and the Star Race Mountain, the others were all at the first level, and not even the most powerful ones. Sorry, I would like to take my leave. A young man from the mountain region stood up and held his fists towards the Thunder Princess. The Thunder Princess's eyes were like lightning as she said slowly, "If you can't even handle this little pressure, you will not be able to achieve anything in the future. It is up to you whether you want to leave or not. I will not stop you." The Star Race Mountain, who had just lost the battle, said with a low voice, "Sit down. Don't embarrass the mountain region anymore. We cannot afford it anymore." Hearing him, the young man sat down with shame. The one who had beaten the Star Race Mountain was the third most powerful warrior among the young generation of the Wavy Cloud region, Wang Lin, who was only below the Red Water Man and Duan Lingyun. But, that was the ranking from 2 years ago. 2 years later, he did not think that he would lose to the Red Water Man and Duan Lingyun. After destroying the last hope of the mountain region, Wang Lin suddenly turned his attention to the South Rudra region. Yan Qihua had used up a lot of energy, so he probably would not join the battle. Li Daoxian had injured his meridians during the battle with Shi Yan, so he would not join the battle either. He would like to see what other powerful warriors the South Rudra region still had. A smile appeared on his face as Wang Lin pointed his finger in the direction of the South Rudra region. I wonder if there is anyone from the South Rudra region who dares to accept my challenge. Hee, this guy really dares to say that. Tua Baku licked his lips. Shaking his head, Yi Chen surprisingly stood up. It would be good to go up there and exercise a bit. No way. You are really going up there? Tua Baku opened his eyes wide. Yi Chen laughed. Why not? There is no need to make the tea gathering so serious. Just relax a bit. Not only was Tua Baku surprised, everyone who knew Yi Chen was also surprised. There were people from the South Rudra region, Feng Yenro and Ling Hanye from the Floating Snow Palace. Chapter 453. Shoo! Ignoring everyone's shock, Yi Chen lightly tapped the ground with the tip of his foot. Like an illusory blue cloud, he appeared in front of Wang Lin within a second. I will be your opponent. Wang Lin studied Yi Chen carefully. The latter's temperament was indeed very elegant, and the great sword on his waist also told him that he was a sword artist. Could it be that there were two top sword artists in the South Rudra region? Wang Lin chuckled and said to Yi Chen, what kind of ace do you have? Just use it. Yi Chen smiled lightly and did not waste any time. His right hand touched the handle of the sword, then he pulled it out, threw it out, and put it back. The three movements seemed to have merged into one, and it was as fast as lightning. Chin! The half-moon-shaped sword chi suddenly landed on the blade that Wang Lin had just pulled out, and a bright flame shot out like a sickle. Wang Lin's body bent as both of his feet rubbed against the ground, sliding hundreds of meters away. The expression on his face was first shock, then realization, and finally seriousness. Using chi to control the sword, upper stage. The Thunder Princess opened her red lips and slowly spat out a few words. There were 3 realms for taking out the sword and throwing it out. The first realm was using the body to control the sword, the second was using the chi to control the sword, and the third was using the mind to control the sword. Those who could reach the second realm would be considered as sword artists. However, the second realm was also divided into lower, middle, and upper stages. The lower stages were only at the beginning, so they were not familiar with it yet. The middle stages had already reached the point where they could control it without any mistakes. The upper stages were even more horrifying, as the sword was the chi, and the chi was the sword. The moment Yi Chen took out his sword, he had told everyone that his sword was not weaker than Li Daoxuan's, but even more powerful. I cannot believe that there is another top sword artist in the South Rudra region. No, this one is even more powerful than the previous one. He has already shown the sharpness of a sword artist. If it were not for Wang Lin's good luck, that sword attack would have wounded him badly. Yeah! If Wang Lin had been a bit more careless and did not take out his blade, that sword chi would not have been blocked so coincidentally. Like boiling water, everyone started to discuss. Is it really just a coincidence? Wang Lin vaguely felt that the opponent seemed to know that he was going to take out his blade. Otherwise, it would be too much of a coincidence. I cannot be careless. Wang Lin's expression was very serious. He had already considered Yi Chen his biggest opponent. If he didn't use 120% of his strength, he would likely lose. Walking back to his original spot step by step, the blade aura on Wang Lin's body was getting stronger and stronger. When he took the last step, the blade aura was like a bomb, exploding violently. The blade in his hands suddenly waved out, shooting out hundreds of thousands of blade lights. Each of them was as fast as lightning, blocking all of Yi Chen's escape routes. Wang Lin considered Yi Chen his biggest enemy, so he immediately used a killing move. Facing this horrifying full-range attack, Yi Chen's expression did not change at all. He lifted up his green lotus sword with his right hand and swung it from left to right. All of a sudden, a dense wave of sword chi spread out, continuously shattering the incoming blade light, making it hard for him to move forward. However, the spectators in the pavilions had no choice but to get busy. Due to the clash between the saber gleams and the sword chis, the resulting shockwaves were quite powerful. A single shockwave was nothing, but if one shockwave after another were to radiate out, all the pavilions would be blown away and destroyed. The surroundings of the Pointer River platform would also be destroyed. Just as everyone was trying to block the shockwaves, Wang Lin attacked again. He jumped up from the ground, holding the long blade with both of his hands, and swung the blade down as if he wanted to split the entire platform into two. Boom! The platform shook slightly. As the high-quality white jade resin turned into dust, the violent blade energy flew out and licked at Yi Chen's body. Eichem, what a powerful blade attack! Yi Chen could naturally tell that this blade attack was not normal. The blade energy contained the spinning and spitting power of the flame. Once hit, no matter how strong the protective Jin Yuan was, it would not be able to block it. It would be torn apart, and the person inside would be severely wounded as well. Shadow explosion. It had been a long time since Yi Chen had used his separating shadow flying art. It was not that this art was outdated, but it was just that he did not have many opportunities to use it. Plus, it was precisely because he had not used it for a long time that he was able to walk out of the pattern of his flying art, and was not restricted by it. Seeing the blade light approaching him, Yi Chen's body shook, and countless black shadows shot out in all directions. Some of them even clashed with each other, which increased their speed and allowed them to escape from the attacking range of the blade light. Crack! A huge pit appeared where Yi Chen had been standing. The bottom of the pit was very hard, and there was a thunder pattern iron that could break down thunder and Jin Yuan's impact. It was because of the thunder pattern iron that the Thunder Princess dared to hold the tea gathering at the mountain and river stage. Seeing that the blade energy had missed its target, Wang Lin became alert and quickly jumped back. Unfortunately, he was still a bit too slow. The cyan-colored sword light had already cut open his protective Jin Yuan and easily knocked him away when he was halfway to the stage. The one who had attacked was naturally Yi Chen, who had just revealed himself. Thanks for letting me win. Yi Chen put his green lotus sword back into its scabbard. May I know your name? Wang Lin took a deep look at Yi Chen and asked. Yi Chen. Yi Chen, I will remember you. You are one of the 3 most powerful young sword artists I have ever met. Wang Lin held his fists together and went back to his seat. After beating Wang Lin, Yi Chen's name had been known by everyone present for the first time. The South Rudra region had also become more and more famous because of him, and it seemed like it was about to reach the 2nd level. Everyone thought that after Wang Lin, who was ranked number 3 in the Wavy Cloud region, lost the battle, Duan Lingyun, who was ranked number 2 in the Wavy Cloud region, would come out. However, he did not seem to want to fight against Yi Chen at all. Seeing that Duan Lingyun was acting like this, the Red Water Miner did not want to go out and fight against Yi Chen directly, so he frowned slightly. Gold Sand Region's Wu Feiyan, please teach me a lesson. Wu Feiyan was ranked number 4 in the Gold Sand region. Being able to be ranked number 4 in the Gold Sand region, one of the top 3 powerful regions, meant that he was way more powerful than the number 3 in the Wavy Cloud region. Duan Lingyun, who was ranked number 2, might not be more powerful than him either. Once he got onto the stage, he attacked toward Yi Chen along with that shocking heat wave. That bright light kept shooting out. Facing that burning palm power, Yi Chen only threw out one sword attack. That one sword attack had extinguished the heat wave, and a corner of Wu Feiyan's clothes had been cut off. 6 suns into 1. Wu Feiyan's mind tightened, and he subconsciously threw out a killing attack. 6 sun-like palm power turned into a huge bright palm in the sky, and a layer of golden halo appeared. The halo shook once, and the golden chi wave spread out in all directions. The top-rank white jade on the ground started to melt as it attacked toward Yi Chen, who was not far away. Sky Thunder Cut. That burning huge golden palm seemed to be indestructible, but Yi Chen's Sky Thunder Cut could even cut a mid-rank great weapon into pieces, not to mention a palm made of Jin Yuan. Swoosh! The 5 fingers of the huge palm were all cut off by the sword attack. What? Wu Feiyan was very surprised, so he threw out another palm attack. Pooh! The palm power was cut into pieces again. Yi Chen held the thunder sword and flashed a couple of times before arriving in front of Wu Feiyan, throwing out a sword attack. Wu Feiyan hurried to put up a thick layer of protective Jin Yuan around his body, which was made of compressed fire element Jin Yuan. Once anything touched it, it would be blown away by the explosive power. He was confident that he could block out Yi Chen's attack. However, he had underestimated the speed and sharpness of the Sky Thunder Cut. That highly compressed protective Jin Yuan was like a red crystal, and a black crack appeared on it. I lost. Wu Feiyan took a deep breath, feeling a bit shocked. As Wu Feiyan admitted defeat, all of the regions started to discuss it. TSK. Impressive. He has already beaten 2 top young warriors in a row. For the South Rudra region, this is indeed an impressive achievement. Wang Lin and Wu Feiyan are both not weak warriors. One is ranked 3rd in the Wavy Cloud region, while the other is ranked 4th in the Gold Sand region. They are already at the top level of the 2nd level. I really do not understand the South Rudra region. In the last tea gathering, there was only 1 warrior. But this time, there are 17 of them. Among them, Yan Qihua, Li Daoxian, and Yi Chen are all very powerful. Could it be that they were weak 2 years ago? No way. They have improved so fast in 2 years. Inside the square formation of the Wavy Cloud region, the Red Water Man talked to Duan Lingyun with his Jin Yuan. Why don't you go challenge him? Why should I? Duan Lingyun asked back. Ha! You are not afraid of him, are you? The Red Water Man sneered. My business is none of your business. As for challenging him, you can do it yourself. Duan Lingyun knew that Yi Chen had not revealed his real power yet, and he was not an idiot. Why would he go up if he knew that he would lose? As for the Red Water Man, he would just let him try his luck. The Red Water Man did not know that Duan Lingyun had lost to Yi Chen, and that even the Ghost Moon Spirit Warrior could not do anything to Yi Chen. Wang Qi from the Wavy Cloud region is here to challenge you. The Red Water Man in red robes flew out. He was not provoked by Duan Lingyun, but by his own will. Although Yi Chen would be hard to deal with, he still had some confidence. Once he beat Yi Chen, his next target would be Ling Hanye from the Misty Snow region. As soon as the Red Water Man appeared, the whole mountain river stage was shocked for the first time. Although there were a couple of powerful warriors, they were obviously not comparable to the Red Water Man. As the #1 warrior of the young generation in the Wavy Cloud region, he was naturally quite famous. He could be ranked in the top 15 or even the top 10 in the whole South region. He was a top warrior of the 2nd level, so it would not be wrong to put him in the 1st level. Therefore, the Red Water Man was definitely one of the top warriors among all the warriors present. He was not someone that people like Wang Lin and Wu Feiyan could compete with. I did not expect the Red Water Man to fight against Yi Chen. This is way too fast. The Red Water Man is the most powerful warrior in the Wavy Cloud region, so he should be on the stage in the final battle. It is indeed a bit early for him to come out now. This Yi Chen is not bad. If it were not for the Red Water Man, he might have been able to win a couple more battles. What a shame. Although Yi Chen is very likely to lose, the South Rudra region being able to make it this far is already a great achievement. Almost no one thought highly of Yi Chen. The Wavy Cloud region was a big region after all, and the Red Water Man was the top warrior among the young generation. How could he be weaker than Yi Chen? Did the South Rudra region really want to rise to the top? Above the Wavy Cloud region? Chapter 454. The head disciple of the Drifting Snow Martial School, Ling Hanya, looked interested. With Wang Qi here, perhaps we can see something. The battle was not over yet, so he would not say who would win or lose for sure. Wang Qi was powerful, and was not weaker than him. Yi Chen was also hiding his power, and would not be easy to deal with. Therefore, in his opinion, this battle would be 50-50, unlike what most people thought, where Yi Chen would lose for sure. Sister Feng, who do you think will win? Qingzhu asked Feng Yenro. Feng Yenro said with a low voice, I think it will be Yi Chen. Oh! Qingzhu was not surprised at all. Regardless of whether she admitted it or not, Yi Chen was indeed very powerful. The 100 wins in a row in the Blue Mountain Island was the proof. It was Ling Hanya who was surprised by Feng Yenro's opinion. He already thought highly of Yi Chen, but Feng Yenro thought even more highly of him. Your power is not bad, but if this is all you have, you will not be my opponent. Wang Qi had already formed the shape of his martial spirit 2 years ago, and right now, it had already reached the critical point. He was only one step away from the real martial spirit. Besides that, his top-rank Earth Realm martial art had also reached the peak of the 13th realm, and he had completely learned a top-rank Earth Realm martial art. He had also learned a profound sense martial art, and had also trained it to 40% completion. With this many ace attacks, Wang Qi did not worry about Yi Chen at all. His opponents would be Ling Hanya and the Beast Prince Mo Xiang. Only these people would be able to make him use all of his power. For him, Yi Chen would only be a bit more troublesome. The corner of Yi Chen's mouth curled up. You will change your mind soon. Oh yeah. That would depend on whether you are qualified or not. Red Water Godly Fist. Wang Qi's eyes turned cold. As he crossed his arms, he performed the exclusive martial art of the Red Water Martial School, the Red Water God Fist Art. In Wang Qi's hand, the power of this fist art was a couple of times more powerful than the Red Water God Fist Art that Huang Kaishan had performed. The powerful fist power was like a tsunami, each wave higher than the last. Green Lotus Mountain Splits. Yi Chen wasn't afraid of the surging fist energy at all. He tapped his foot on the ground and leapt out like a bolt of lightning. He raised his greenwood sword high above his head and swung it down vertically. The sword light, which was engraved with a towering green lotus, tore apart the sky and slashed out with a mountain-splitting and earth-splitting power. An earth-shaking explosion was heard. Wang Qi's fist power had been shattered by the sword light, and Yi Chen's sword light had also been shattered by the explosion. In the first exchange, Yi Chen had the upper hand. Not bad. You deserve me to be a little more serious. Wang Qi's expression did not change at all. He had expected Yi Chen to have this kind of power. If not, then he had overestimated himself. Increasing his Jin Yuan to another level, Wang Qi bent his knees slightly and his whole body shot up into the sky, throwing out a punch towards Yi Chen. There was nothing fancy about this punch, it was just faster, more brutal, and more aggressive. Under the push of the water mentality, purple lightning had even appeared in the fist power, which was caused by the power of the punch. Facing this powerful punch, Yi Chen shook his wrist and stabbed out with his greenwood sword. A dot of sword light accumulated on the tip of the sword, eventually turning into a green lotus and shooting out. Pooh! A subtle clashing sound was heard. Wang Qi's fist power and the green lotus that had been formed by the sword light had been destroyed together. The water and sword qi were like fountains, shooting out in all directions. This blast wave alone could kill a lot of normal astral-reaching realm warriors within seconds. His body, which was gliding backward, suddenly turned around. Wang Qi had not only taken out that aggressive radiation power, but had also guided that power into a huge swirl. With the centrifugal power of the swirl, he opened his hands and dove down from the sky like an eagle. Strong water swirl. As he punched out, all the water elemental energy in the sky and on the ground was sucked dry. Along with the fist power, the water elemental energy started to spin crazily, forming a flat whirlpool that was constantly shrinking. This flat whirlpool was so condensed and sharp that it even made a sharp whistling sound as it tore through the air. It was indeed the last movement of his red water godly fist art, which was equivalent to a profound sense martial art with 30% of its power. Being performed by Wang Qi, its power was even more powerful. Sky Thunder Cut. Right then, the separating shadow flying art would definitely not be used, since that swirl contained a very powerful suction power. If it was not powerful enough to break through, it would be impossible for him to use his speed to get out of the attacking range. Therefore, he would have to find the best angle to break through the swirl. Performing his sword steps, Yi Chen used his body as a sword, stabbing out to the right side of the swirl. At the same time, the greenwood sword in his hand had been replaced by the thunder sword. He held the sword tightly with both of his hands, holding it horizontally in front of his chest as he sliced through the swirl. Crack! All of these movements had been completed within a second. Once the sword tip sliced through, the sword light with electric light exploded from the inside of the swirl. What? You broke the swirl? Wang Qi's pupils shrank. Take one sword attack from me. After breaking the swirl with one sword attack, Yi Chen did not change his direction at all. He threw out countless sword lights towards Wang Qi while his whole body approached him. Piss off! Wang Qi threw out both of his fists continuously. His fist aura had reached its peak within a second, giving people a feeling like a dam that was filled with water had suddenly been broken, and a huge wave had poured out. Chin 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 chin, the fist tip and the sword tip continued to clash together, bringing up bright sparks. The burning chi waves had even shaved off the surface of the platform layer after layer, shooting out in all directions. Hit! The thunder sword curved into a shocking arc as Yi Chen suddenly bounced out. His left pinky finger and index finger shot out two beams of sword chi, shooting out with a hissing sound. Not good. Wang Qi had not expected Yi Chen's fingers to be able to shoot out sword chi as well, so he only had enough time to throw out a punch to shatter the first beam of sword chi. The second beam of sword chi had pierced through his protective Jin Yuan, bringing out a large amount of blood. What? The Red Water Man was wounded? He was wounded by one sword chi attack from Yi Chen. Shooting out sword chi from his hand. How unexpected. Have you guys noticed that from the beginning to the end, Yi Chen has always had the upper hand? No matter how much he increases his power, he cannot turn the situation around. Doesn't this mean that the Red Water Man is not Yi Chen's opponent at all? Most of the people had their mouths wide open, not knowing what to say. In the square formation of the Thunder region, the young master of beasts, Mo Xiang, rubbed his chin and laughed. I guess what I said outside the city must have been taken as a joke by them. The Thunder Princess glanced at him. What joke? Nothing. I just made a big mistake. I thought he was just a normal warrior. Mo Xiang thought that he was more powerful than the Red Water Man, and since Yi Chen was able to beat him with a slight advantage, even if he was not as powerful as him, it would not be that much weaker. It is just a small mistake. It is impossible for people to not make mistakes. But, as long as the mistake is still within one's tolerance, why should one care? The speaker was an evil-looking young man wearing a long robe with a gold crown on his head. His eyes were long and narrow, and he had a cynical look on his face. Mo Xiang chuckled and said, "It seems like the young leader is very confident." The young leader he was talking about was the young leader of the Shining Martial School, which was a rank 5 martial institution in the Thunder region. The current leader was his great-grandfather, the Shining King. As the descendant of the Life and Death Realm warrior, Yin Zhongli was very talented, and his comprehensive ability was not low either. In fact, at the level of the southern region, the king bloodline was not that rare. The key was still whether or not one could fully activate it. Same here. Yin Zhongli said with a lazy face. The martial tea gathering was in the spirit of competition, so the Thunder Princess was just about to announce the result when Wang Qi yelled, "Princess Jing, we are not done yet." The Thunder Princess said, "Wang Qi, winning and losing are normal things for warriors. You do not need to worry about it." Wang Qi tried to explain, "It was just a moment of carelessness on my part. If I lose, then it would be unfair." Don't worry, I will only need one attack. One attack, and I will beat him. Alright then. The Thunder Princess nodded. Looking back at Yi Chen, Wang Qi's pupils started to turn red. Very well. I did not expect that I would be wounded by you because of carelessness. But, if you think that you have beaten me for sure, then you are very wrong. The next attack, I want you to accept your defeat. Yi Chen did not seem to care. I will. Yi Chen's attitude had pissed Wang Qi off. He did not say another word as his aura rushed out like a flood. It was getting stronger and stronger. The auras clashed with each other, bringing up a cracking sound. Waves of invisible holes started to spread out. Water Beast Fist Wave. Wang Qi's ace attack was naturally the low-rank profound sense martial art of the Red Water Martial School, Water Beast Fist Wave. Different from Huang Kaishan, Wang Qi had already trained this profound sense martial art to 40%, which meant that its power was way more powerful than the fierce water swirl. Pushing his Jin Yuan to its limit, Wang Qi threw out 18 punches towards Yi Chen. Each punch was like a whirlpool. 18 whirlpools spread out in the air, blocking Yi Chen's escape route. The whirlpools merged together, leaving behind 6 huge whirlpools that were the size of a stone mill. They formed a 6-pointed star, attacking towards where Yi Chen was standing. At that moment, it seemed like time had stopped. Water Beast Fist Wave has increased my battling power by 3 times. It has combined defense, attack, and locking all at the same time. Let me see how you are going to block it out. After battling for a while, Wang Qi was very clear about Yi Chen's power. Therefore, he was sure that Yi Chen would not be able to block it out. Even if it were him, he would not be able to block it out either. Once he performed his Water Beast Fist Wave, it would be a piece of cake for him to beat someone stronger than him. Plus, Yi Chen's power was only at the same level as his. Facing this horrifying fist attack, Yi Chen's expression did not change at all. You think that was all I had before? I have never liked to use my absolute power to beat my opponents. For me, it is more fun to beat my opponents with techniques. His sword intent shot up into the sky. The space around Yi Chen started to twist a little, making it impossible to see his body clearly. All that could be seen was the twisted space suddenly disappearing. Yi Chen took a step out and threw out a sword attack towards the 6 huge whirlpools. It was a slanted sword attack without any fancy moves, but the sword intent contained in it was enough to shock everyone. This extremely powerful sword intent had reached beyond the limits of an astral-reaching realm warrior, reaching the Sea of Souls realm. With the help of that horrifying sword intent, this sword attack of Yi Chen's was unbelievably fast and heavy. With one sword attack, the poetic perspective of the Water Beast Fist Wave had been broken. Boom! The thick electric arc shot out in all directions, shattering Wang Qi's fist power completely. He himself even puked out a little bit of blood. Chapter 455. I did not sense it wrong, did I? This is the sword spirit level sword intent. Indeed. This is indeed the sword spirit level sword intent. Perhaps he has formed a real sword spirit. I remember that it is much harder for a sword artist to form a sword spirit than a warrior to form a martial spirit. Although some of them have reached the Sea of Souls realm, they still might not be able to form a sword spirit. The attacking power of the sword intent is already more powerful than the martial intent. Right now, there is even a gap of 1 level between them. Wang Qi's loss is understandable. Like a tornado, all of the young warriors from different regions started to discuss crazily. Inside the Thunder region, Mo Xiang looked at the Thunder Princess with surprise and asked, did he really form a sword spirit? Forming a sword spirit meant too much. In the whole southern region, it seemed like only the Edict Prince had formed a martial spirit. Even the Thunder Princess and the Astral Spirit Son had not done it yet. The Thunder Princess shook her head, although its power is not weaker than the sword spirit level sword intent, but if I sense it carefully, there is still a slight difference. If I have guessed it right, he should have learned the elemental sword intent earlier, which is a couple of times more powerful than the normal sword intent. It should be comparable to the sword spirit level sword intent. Elemental sword intent. Mo Xiang and Yin Zhongli exchanged a look, their expressions becoming more and more serious. The young warriors who had come here could be divided into 3 levels. Without exaggeration, Yi Chen was already in the 3rd level. His advantage in terms of sword spirit was something that no one else could compete with. Elemental sword intent. Mo Xiang and Yin Zhongli were not the only ones who were shocked. The 2 young men in black robes sitting next to Xikong Sheng were also shocked. As one of the Evil King Pavilion's 7 knights, they had a lot of experience. Naturally, they could tell that Yi Chen had not formed a sword spirit yet. The reason why this sword intent was so powerful was because of its intense killing element. No wonder you value him so much. He is indeed not a normal sword artist. The 7th knight let out a breath slowly and said to Xikong Sheng. Xikong Sheng knocked on the table with his fingers and said, "A couple of years ago, I knew that it would not be that easy to beat him. But the power he has shown so far is not enough to surprise me. I hope that he has more powerful ace attacks. Otherwise, it would be too boring." "Hee, you are such a crazy man." The 7th knight and the 6th knight forced a smile. On the field, Yi Chen and Wang Qi were completely different. Yi Chen still looked handsome and elegant. Holding his long sword, he looked clean and spotless. Wang Qi was in a much more difficult situation. His clothes were torn, his lips were stained with blood, and his hair was messed up by the strong wind. He no longer looked like the little master Redwater. "You!" Before he could say anything, Wang Qi spat out another mouthful of blood. He was so angry that he became muddle-headed. Previously, he had confidently said that he would defeat Yi Chen in one move, leaving no room for him to turn the tables. Not only did he fail to achieve his goal, but he was also instantly killed by Yi Chen. The dramatic ending gave him a hard slap in the face, making him dizzy and wishing that he could never wake up in this life. How is this possible? How could I lose to him? This is impossible. It should not be. I am the #1 young warrior in the Wavy Cloud region, and he is only a warrior from the South Rudra region. After puking out a mouthful of blood, Wang Qi looked like he had lost his soul. Yi Chen sighed. Was it really that embarrassing to be beaten by himself? Not to mention the others, besides the top 3 dragon-level martial geniuses, the rest of them did not make him feel like fighting at all. Of course, most of them probably did not think that they would have the power to challenge a true dragon-level warrior. "Wang Qi, you have lost. Get down now." The Thunder Princess reminded Wang Qi so that he would not continue to lose face. After all, his opponent was the face of the Wavy Cloud region. Wang Qi lifted up his head, looking a bit lost. In the Gold Sand region formation, the aggressive astral spirit Sun sneered, "Trash. You have lost the battle and the formation." Hee. The purple-haired beauty right next to the astral spirit Sun laughed. "Things have been a little different from what you had expected. It is normal for you to lose your soul. But, this Yi Chen is not simple. He has beaten the Wavy Cloud region with his own power and brought the South Rudra region to the 2nd level. Even if someone from the South Rudra region manages to surpass him in the future, no one would forget his contribution. Wang Qi, why are you so fixated on what is right in front of you?" Right then, the Edict Prince spoke. His voice seemed to contain a kind of power that could make one's heart clear. As soon as it reached everyone's ears, they all became serious and cleared their thoughts. When it reached Wang Qi's ears, his messy eyes started to focus again, and he regained his spirit. With a blush on his face, Wang Qi knew that the Edict Prince had helped him out and saved him from losing face. He held his fists together and said, "Thank you." The Edict Prince sighed. Winning and losing are normal things for warriors. If you want to never lose in your life, you have to have an unyielding spirit. You have lost for real this time. Get down now. Yes. Wang Qi had a bitter look on his face. As he brushed past Yi Chen, he said with a light voice, "This time, you have won. Next time, I will not lose." Yi Chen did not say anything. Beating him was already enough, so there was no need to break his confidence. Head disciple has lost as well. Huang Kaishan's expression was even more bitter than Wang Qi's. In the Blue Mountain Island Challenge tournament, he had suffered a crushing defeat to Yi Chen without even the slightest chance to fight back. He originally thought that his head disciple would beat Yi Chen in this tea gathering and let him see Yi Chen's face of defeat. However, the heavens seemed to be against him. Even his head disciple, who was so powerful in his heart, had been defeated, and it was a clean defeat without any trace of force. Better not mess with him. We can't afford to mess with him. Huang Kaishan made up his mind to not mess with Yi Chen anymore. In fact, he did not dare to mess with Yi Chen. Otherwise, how could he expect Wang Qi to beat Yi Chen? Sister Feng is right. It seems like head disciple's insight is not as good as Sister Feng's. Qingzhu teased Ling Hanye, who was in front of her. Ling Hanye forced a laugh. I was wrong. Since even Wang Qi was not his opponent, then I would not be his opponent either. He is almost at the 3rd level. There were not many warriors at the 3rd level. There were 3 to 4 warriors in the Thunder region, 2 to 3 in the Floating Light region, and 2 to 3 in the Gold Sand region. All the other regions had 1 each or none at all, plus Yi Chen. As for the rest of the hidden warriors, they had not been exposed yet. The climax of the tea gathering was still far from starting. Yi Chen has won. Our South Rudra region's status has surpassed the Wavy Cloud region. Mu Lingfeng was very excited, even more excited than when he had beaten Wang Qi. Tuabaku chuckled, just watch. The next tea gathering will depend on you guys. Yes, I will work even harder. Before he came, Mu Lingfeng was more or less proud, thinking that he was not weaker than anyone. The only pity was that he did not have the chance to fight with Yi Chen and the rest of the warriors in the Hidden Dragon rank competitions. Right now, he finally knew that if he wanted to reach the level of Yan Qihua and Li Daoxian, he would have to train with all his might. Which one of the martial geniuses here was not talented enough? However, if he wanted to reach the level of Yi Chen, it would not be something that could be done in a day. In the pavilion next to them, Li Daoxian said, he is still ahead of us. It seems like if we want to catch up to him, we will have to spend our whole lives. Yan Qihua said with determination, even if we have to, we will have to catch up to him. If Yi Chen wants to catch up, then someone else will have to catch up as well. Don't forget, he is the only one in the whole South Rudra region who can compete with Yi Chen. Li Daoxian looked at Sikong Sheng, who was wearing black robes. He was even more mysterious than before, and it was all because of Yi Chen. Thinking about how even Sikong Sheng had been pushed to this extent by Yi Chen, Li Daoxian could not help but admire him. Yan Qihua also glanced at Sikong Sheng and said, catching up to someone is always better than having no one to catch up to. Especially seeing the martial geniuses out there. Li Daoxian nodded, indeed. Catching up to them will make us improve even faster. I also believe that since we can catch up to them, we will be able to catch up to the whole world as well. Li Daoxian asked himself if it were not for Yi Chen, he would not be as powerful as he was right now. Only with pressure would there be motivation. After beating Wang Qi, Yi Chen had already won 3 times in a row. His reputation was catching up to the Beast Prince, Mo Xiang and the others. Still not going down. He is not planning to challenge all the way, is he? Arrogant. Although the Red Water Man is powerful, there are still people who are more powerful than him. Especially the Thunder region, the Floating Light region, and the Gold Sand region, the top 5 regions, which one of them is not more powerful than the Red Water Man? It seems like the 3 wins have made him a bit dizzy. It is not that easy to become famous in one go. Hee, just you wait. Someone will go up and beat him until he wakes up. I wonder who else besides the Thunder Princess and the Astral Spirit Sun will go up to challenge him. Seeing that Yi Chen did not plan to go down, a lot of people got angry. They thought that Yi Chen was too arrogant and did not care about anyone else. Yi Chen did not know what they were thinking, and even if he did, he would not care. The reason why he stayed was not to challenge the top 3 true dragon-level warriors, because the martial tea gathering was not a challenge. If you wanted to challenge someone, you would have to see if they were interested or not. The reason why he stayed was to bring the South Rudra region to the top of the second level. After doing all that, he would not care about the battles at this level anymore, and the others would not dare to look down on the South Rudra region either. Ha! Just beating one Wang Qi. I, the Black Sword Artist, would like to challenge you. A teenager in black robes with a black sword on his back flew out. Besides that sharp sword aura, there was also that evil qi that seemed to want to devour people. It was an evil qi that only people who had killed thousands of people would have. The evil qi combined with the sword aura, and with just a thought, it could almost make people hallucinate. It was indeed the #1 warrior of the Black Gold region, the Black Sword Artist, also known as the leader of the Black Gold region's top 4. It had been rumored that his power was at the same level as Wang Jilin and Hanya. You use a sword, and I also use a sword. Let's see whose sword technique is more lethal. The Black Sword Artist was very confident in his sword art. His sword art was different from the others, as it only aimed for killing. He believed that killing was the ultimate goal of his sword art. Who? As he finished talking, the Black Sword Artist took out the huge black sword on his back and waved out a heavy sword attack. Crack! The platform was shattered, and the black sword light carried a sharp killing chi as it shot out. Wherever it went, it brought up a storm. What? The Black Sword Artist has also learned the Slaughter Sword Intent? Slaughter Sword Intent versus Slaughter Sword Intent. No wonder the Black Sword Artist is so confident. Before learning the Slaughter Sword Intent, the Black Sword Artist's power was at the same level as Wang Qi, but after learning it, Wang Qi would not be able to compete with the Black Sword Artist without a doubt. Everyone thought that the Black Gold region would be weaker than the Wavy Cloud region and the Misty Snow region. But once the Black Sword Artist showed up, he had told everyone that under his leadership, the Black Gold region would not be something that the other two regions could compete with. Flashing his body to avoid the sword light, Yi Chen was a bit surprised. It was his first time facing someone else's sword intent, and he could tell that the Black Sword Artist was way more powerful than Wang Qi. Chapter 456. Rumble. Rumble. Another 2 black sword lights shot out. These black sword lights were extremely violent, creating black tornadoes as they attacked towards Yi Chen from both sides. His clothes and long black hair danced in the air as Yi Chen held the thunder sword and slashed horizontally. Crack! With the two of them as the center, the space began to distort, and the airflow was sucked in, unable to escape. The sword light that had created the black tornado suddenly shattered, causing the surrounding platform to be full of holes, and not a single spot was left unscathed. The Slaughter Sword Intent is too frightening. This tea gathering is indeed full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. There are actually 2 sword geniuses who have comprehended the Slaughter Sword Intent. Together with Gold Sand Region's life-taker Ling Zhua, the 3 of them are the top 3 sword artists of this tea gathering. Yeah, life-taker Ling Zhua is indeed not to be underestimated. 1 year ago, he had defeated Gold Sand Region's former number 2, Wan Zhuoming. His strength is just below Astral Spirit Sun. I wonder who will have the last laugh among the top 3 sword artists. Everyone discussed spiritedly, and they were rather interested. Raising his black sword artist looked at Yi Chen from afar and said indifferently, I am not like other sword artists. Once my sword leaves its sheath, I want to see blood. Otherwise, my mind will not be smooth. You better be prepared for serious injuries, or else you will blame me for not reminding you. Yi Chen smiled slightly, this blood might not be mine. It might be yours. Yi Chen's voice was not loud, and his expression was not cold or serious, but everyone could clearly feel a strong will coming from him. Although his attitude is arrogant, I have to admit that this person is not simple. Facing Black Sword Artist who has comprehended the Slaughter Sword Intent, he dares to speak like this. I wonder if it is his nature or if he is confident. What kind of confidence does he need to have to dare to say such words? Without a doubt, Yi Chen's words had enraged Black Sword Artist. He said coldly, "Whose blood it is, we will know soon." Wolf killing. Black Sword Artist's right foot moved half a step as he slashed down with his black sword. The brutal black sword light was like a hot knife cutting through butter, carrying the howling of a wolf as it slashed towards Yi Chen. Break! Flying into the air, Yi Chen shattered the black sword light with one sword attack. His left hand reached out from the side of his waist. Two beams of green lotus sword chi shot out with a swishing sound. This move is useless against me. Black Sword Artist reached out his left hand as well. His index finger and middle finger clasped onto his thumb, shooting out two black finger energies. The finger energies were like blades, blocking the green lotus sword chi in the air. Puff! Puff! Black Sword Artist had underestimated the green lotus sword chi in the end. Although his finger art was not weak, it was still no match for the green lotus sword chi that Yi Chen had hidden inside his body. The black finger power paused for a second before shattering immediately, releasing two circular shockwaves. The shockwaves spread out very fast, but still could not catch up to the speed of the green lotus sword chi. Ding ding! Left with no choice, the black sword swordsman raised his black greatsword. Two sparks exploded in the air in front of his chest. What kind of sword chi is this? It is not weaker than the sword chi from a great sword at all. It might even be a bit stronger. Black Sword Artist originally thought that Yi Chen had cultivated some kind of finger art, causing the finger energy to be similar to sword chi, but not as powerful as sword chi. But now, he realized that he was wrong. The might of these two strands of sword chi far surpassed ordinary sword chi. The Black Sword Artist was surprised, but so was Yi Chen. He knew the power of the green lotus sword chi better than anyone else. Under normal circumstances, the sword chi that he used with his mid-rank great sword would not even be as powerful as the green lotus sword chi. Only the sword chi from his ace attacks would be able to suppress the green lotus sword chi. However, his opponent was able to use his finger power to reduce the sword chi's power by half, which meant that it must be a top-rank Earthrealm finger art. Only a top-rank Earthrealm finger art could do this. I have already used up 4 beams of my green lotus sword chi. I will not use them again if I can. The green lotus sword chi was his ace in close combat. Yi Chen did not want others to know his bottom line. Seizing the chance when the Black Sword Artist had shattered the green lotus sword chi, Yi Chen's body suddenly dropped down. The 1,000-meter-long sword light was like a heavenly sword as it slashed down. Break for me. If it were a normal sword artist, they would definitely focus on defense and focus on defending against Yi Chen's heavy attack. However, in the dictionary of the Black Sword Artist, there was no concept of defense. He opened his mouth and roared. His black hair stood up while his inky black chi shot up into the sky, accompanying the huge black sword in his hand to meet the incoming sword light. Boom! The two swords clashed, and a dark blue energy ball appeared out of nowhere. At first, it was only the size of a pinky finger, but after half a blink of an eye, it had expanded to 1 meter. Not good. Everyone, block out the energy wave. The Thunder Princess frowned. Her voice was pushed by her Jin Yuan, spreading out at a supersonic speed. At the same time, she waved her slender palm, and a crystal-clear Jin Yuan wall flickering with thunder and lightning rose up, blocking the entire pavilion behind it. It then spread out to both sides, connecting with the Jin Yuan walls created by the others. Waiting until all the Jin Yuan walls were connected into a circle, sealing off the entire mountain pointer stage, the dark blue energy ball exploded. Because the sound of the explosion was too loud, no one could hear it. They could only see a dazzling light in front of them as the Jin Yuan walls were weakened bit by bit. Then, the energy wave that had nowhere to vent shot up into the sky, turning into a 2 Li thick energy light beam that shot up into the sky, tearing apart the stunning sky barrier. Looking from the outside of the Thunder Capital, the energy beam that seemed to connect the sky and the earth was extremely eye-catching. Everyone in the Thunder Capital secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. They had no idea how popular the biennial martial tea gathering was. Such a frightening momentum was clearly not something an ordinary person could create. Rumble. The energy light beam dissipated, and only then did a loud boom spread out in all directions. However, there was no one on the stage. Yi Chen and the black sword artist had both disappeared. Yi Chen, it's time for you to take my sword. Up in the sky, the black sword artist's figure appeared. Both of his hands were gripping the huge black sword, raising it high above his shoulders. Then, he exerted his strength through his spine, transferring it to the muscles of his arms before finally pouring it into his palms in an explosive manner. Swoosh! A black waning moon suddenly appeared, and an extremely frightening black sword wave radiated out in a 180-degree fan shape. Its speed had already surpassed most people's senses. Facing this frightening sword, Yi Chen pulled out the thunder sword with his left hand. Without adjusting his grip, he directly slashed out. Een! The sword light without thunder lit up the sky of the Thunder Capital once again, slashing out with an increasingly domineering manner. Wherever it went, the air was shattered by the power of nothingness, leaving a shocking black sword mark. Sky Thunder Cut. The Sky Thunder Cut performed with his current power was far more powerful than when he had fought against the Red Water Minor Spiritual Master. It might have been a casual attack, or he might have been holding the sword in his left hand or holding the long sword in a reverse grip. After waving out this sword, Yi Chen seemed to have understood something. The Sky Thunder Cut could cut through anything, including the sword wave formed from sword chi. The sound of silk being cut was heard. Not only did the black sword artist's killing move have no effect, he even suffered a bit of a backlash. Of course, with his power, this bit of backlash was nothing to him. However, Yi Chen's power made him vigilant. This battle is going to be dangerous. I originally thought that the black sword artist, who had comprehended the slaughter sword intent, could slightly suppress Yi Chen. Even if he couldn't suppress him, he should at least be on par with him. But now, no matter how I look at it, it seems like the battle between Yi Chen and the Red Water Minor Spiritual Master is the same. Could it be that even the black sword artist is not a match for Yi Chen? The battle is not over yet. It's too early to say that. Who knows, the black sword artist might have a counterattack. After dozens of attacks, the two had fought from the sky to the ground. Sword chi that was enough to tear apart mountains were attacking each other in the sky of Thunder City. Black Dragon Wave. The black sword artist's strongest sword attack was naturally a profound sense martial art. However, due to various reasons, he did not have a deep understanding of the Black Dragon Wave, which was around 30% completion, which was still not as powerful as the Red Water Minor Spiritual Master Wang Qi. Therefore, this Black Dragon Wave was only as powerful as the last movement of his sword art. However, a profound sense martial art was still a profound sense martial art. Even if its power was not enough, its subtlety was still not something a normal sword art could compete with. The black sword was covered in a black mist. When the black sword artist stabbed out, the sword light was like a swimming dragon, without any fixed pattern or pattern. Even if it was someone with the same power as the black sword artist, it would be hard to avoid this sword attack. Their bodies would be pierced through and shattered. What a horrifying sword attack! I can't even see its trajectory. Dragons are legendary creatures. I heard that when a dragon flies in the sky, it would be impossible to see or touch it, as if it existed in another space. As a profound sense martial art, the Black Dragon Wave would naturally not be like a normal martial art, where the word dragon would be used to increase its aggressiveness. It must have been added after careful consideration. Even if this Black Dragon Wave is not related to the Black Dragon, it must be related to the Flood Dragon. Yi Chen is going to lose. Losing to this sword attack is not shameful at all. Everyone on the stage did not think that Yi Chen would win. Even if Yi Chen had had the upper hand since the beginning, and it had been going on until now, the battle between sword artists would be decided in just a second. So what if he had the upper hand? So what if the scene looked good? One sword attack would be able to wipe out all of his previous efforts. It was cruel, but also realistic. Right then, even Tua Baku, Li Daoxian, and the others were worried for Yi Chen. Mu Lingfeng was even more unable to control his emotions, his palm squeezing the armrest of his chair until it exploded. Facing this untraceable sword attack, a faint smile appeared on the corner of Yi Chen's mouth. He flipped the greenwood sword and put it behind his back. His left hand instantly grabbed the thunder sword's hilt at his waist, pulled it out, and sliced upwards. The sword light twisted back, wrapping around his opponent's strange sword light. Reverse Sky Thunder Cut. It was the same sword attack from before. In just a short period of time, Yi Chen had already perfected it to a certain extent. What? The black sword artist's expression had just appeared on his face when he felt a sharp pain in his chest. The blood that had splashed out dyed his eyes red, making him feel hot and numb. Time seemed to have stopped. Without knowing why, the black sword artist recalled what Yi Chen had said before the battle: "This blood might not be mine, but yours." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.